Comes to the spell, baby. Get right here.
All aboard the Dutch bus. Tickets going quick out here. Oh,
yeah. Boots on the step, dust on the dash. Old map for the future in the back. Tar on the road, Carolina sun. Stories in the gravel where the rivers run. Cotton fields, red clay, ghost town, church choirs. Whispers in the pine trees, names carved in white. We ride through the chapters, page after track. Every mile of memory we haven't
all
had.
aboard the Dutch bus, rolling through Carolina time. The historical lore of Carolina past lingers in our mind. North, south, wild and untamed, every bend another sign. Come ride this road with Dutchies, let the legends come alive.
From the Blue Ridge edge to the lowland heat, got moonshine tales hidden under the seat. Railroad blues and a drumline beat. Old scars, new bars where the past and present meet. See that farmhouse leaning, still standing proud. Hear that porch swing creaking, talking out loud. We wonder how these legends ever came to be. A tale as old as time, still changing you and me.
Learn, all aboard the Dutch bus.
At the wheel, feel that steel grind. Together
we uncover every secret left behind.
Hey everybody, my name is Duchess, and this is where we talk about true crime, missing cases, we do a little cooking, and we talk a little bit about some folklore. I missed you guys last week because I had an ear infection, and I was just not feeling up to it. So we have a lot to catch up on. This is my new series. We are doing Carolina lore and mysteries once a week, where we talk about Carolina folklore, and the Duke's going to be joining me here in just a minute, and we are going to talk about the boo hag, the Charleston Low Country boo hag. So I hope everybody's having a great night. I appreciate you guys choosing to spend a little time over here, maybe take a break from other things that you might be listening to. Maybe you're up cooking, maybe you're cleaning and taking care of your animals. You got me in your ear. Well, you might learn a little bit about some Carolina folklore. So even if you're catching this on the replay, I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. We are going to get a huge winter storm that's coming in on Friday evening that's going to affect us all through the weekend. So if you guys are anywhere where this winter storm is going to be affected, please make sure that you take care of yourself and plan ahead. Don't be going out there in these treacherous situations, driving in the snow and the ice. This is a little bit of what our forecast looks like for this weekend. The timing could begin as early as Saturday morning and last through early Monday. Precipitation type looks like some snow, possible freezing rain and sleet. The accumulations, it's too early for specifics. Significant icing inland and major impacts are possible. Dangerous cold sun next week. We got lows in the 10s and 20s. Highs are mainly going to be in the 30s, and ice is going to be very slow to melt next week. So it's going to be a whole host of stuff coming to the Carolinas. So y'all be safe out there. Make sure you're looking out for each other. I always rely on our local weather guy, Ed Piotrowski at WPDE. That's ABC News locally here in Myrtle Beach. And Ed said this just a couple of hours ago. You know, I don't sensationalize anything. So when I say this could be a historic storm for parts of the Carolinas, I mean it. I'm mostly worried about the freezing rain inland. So if you guys are possibly going to be affected by some of this winter storm weather, make sure that you take care of yourself. What is it, Harley? You got something to say, baby? Come here. What you want? Harley talking. Hang on, y'all. So welcome, everybody. Who do we got in here? Hey, Chico, it's good to see you. Thanks for popping over. Hope you're doing good. Hey, Sue Tutton, I love me some wood booger stories. I live in the swamp with the monkey men and the old fishing guides call them. Oh, well, you've definitely got some stories then. Hey, Michelle, I hope you're doing good. You better buckle up because I guarantee y'all going to have some winter weather out that way too. Ours is going to start Friday night, so you might want to get situated because I'm already freezing. I can't be doing 10 degrees. We don't do 10 degrees down here. It better not get 10 degrees down in South Carolina. I don't know if I can handle it. Hey, Blank Screen, it's good to see you, the most hated troll. Well, we don't hate you over here. Come join the dark side. We got cookies. In fact, I made 3 batches of cookies last night and bagged them up. Y'all can go over there and see my recipe over on my community wall if you want to make some very good chocolate chip cookies that are soft. Hubby says they're better than the soft batch chocolate chip cookies that you buy in the store. Michelle says, around here, my husband goes to the store for people. He is no longer allowed to get out of the truck on the road, though. If you know, you know. Well, I do know, and you better tell your hubby to stay safe. We can't be having none of that business this year. No, ma'am. He needs to stay inside where it's safe. Hey, honey elder, it's so good to see you. I hope you're doing good. That's right. If you know, you know. Hey, Shiloh, it's so good to see you. I hope you're doing good. Hey, Stephanie. I know. Listen, y'all already know. Dutchy don't be doing cold weather, honey. I wear my comfy clothes and my flip-flops, but this is not that time. Hey, witchy woman, it's good to see you. So I just wanted to let y'all know, make sure you are check on your neighbors, check on your family if they are living in any of these areas that might be affected by this winter storm. Make sure you got a generator because if there's going to be ice, y'all, there could be down power lines. You just never know what the situation might be, and you don't need to be going without your heat. And if you got neighbors that are elderly, you need to make sure you check on them. And if you're like we are down here in Myrtle Beach, we don't have salt trucks. They have to throw sand everywhere out on the road. And the milk and the bread is already sold out at the daggone store. And it's not even here yet. There's not even been a snowflake. Lord have mercy. I'm doing good, Shiloh. I hope you're doing good. Hey, Aries, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing good. I appreciate y'all being here. Now, y'all make sure to hit the like button and share this out because we're going to teach some people a little bit of something about some Carolina folklore. Hubby's going to be up here in a minute, but we're going to get started. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all just a little bit about the boo hag. I'm going to learn along with you guys. And let me tell you, I'm a little nervous because some of the stuff that I've been looking at, it's got me a little nervous. Hubby and I go visit Charleston, South Carolina a lot. I got some friends that are on YouTube that live in Charleston, and I hope I do get to meet them one day, but that's one of our favorite places to go visit. And they have so many haunted stories. They have a whole blog called Charleston Terrors, and that is where I got a lot of my information about the boo hag. But I also have some friends that live in Charleston, and I kind of sense a couple of my friends in the area some messages, and I was like, hey, I want to know if you've ever heard of the boo hag. And they laughed, and we talked a little bit about it, and they gave me some really good information. So I kind of wanted to share it with y'all because I thought it was really cool. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to kind of jump into it. Now, hubby's been doing some reading, and Lord, when he gets up here, y'all going to have to bear with me because he was telling me some stuff that I had no idea about. And so y'all just better buckle up, get your helmets on, your seat belts, your waders. Who knows? We're going to have to get prepared for this because if you know that Charleston's got all kinds of stories. And this is really, really interesting. So when I first started looking into some folklore stories, I had some subscribers reach out to me and said, the Carolinas have a lot of really cool folklore stories, and I wanted to know if you could talk about some of that because I really like hearing you tell stories. And I said, sure, I'll be happy to do that if that's something you guys are interested in. So that led me to the story of the boo hag. So I made some phone calls, and this comes from the Charleston Terror's website, The Boo Hag and the Haint Blue, Vampires of the Low Country. And this story goes back to one of the most well-known urban legends in South Carolina, and it actually comes from the Gullah Geechee people. And I have a few friends that I have met over the years, and a couple of those people are Gullah Geechee. And if you don't know what Gullah Geechee is, then we have something that we need to talk about. But this story, that is where it originated, in the Low Country of South Carolina and Georgia. That is where the Gullah people were known for, because West African people were bought and they were brought to the New World. This is back in the 1500s and 1600s for slavery. And these people were brought to Sullivan's Island in the Low Country of South Carolina, and this is where they lived and worked on plantations. And the once proud people were forced to produce crops like sugarcane for rum and indigo for its color. And to survive this harsh new life, they banded together into communities. And over the centuries, a new culture was born with its own language and folklore in the Low Country. Today, the Gullah of South Carolina and the Geechee of Georgia have a recognized national culture corridor. And there are some widespread legends of the Gullah Geechee found all around South Carolina and Georgia. And the most infamous story that surrounds these people is the boo hag, the mermaid riot, and another Gullah legend that also makes for a good read. So I thought today we would talk about the boo hag. It sounds really interesting. I've been to Charleston quite a few times in my 52 years. And if you know anything about going to the Low Country, any of my South Carolina people in here, how many South Carolina people, how many people have ever been to Charleston who know anything about the Low Country? How many people in here have a porch that's painted haint blue? If you know something about this life, put a 1 in the chat. Because I bet I got some people who listen to my channel that know all about that. And haint blue is a very popular color in the Low Country. And I'll tell you why. You can look up haint blue Charleston and find out all kinds of things. But in Charleston, haint blue is kind of a pale blue-green color. It's often seen on porch ceilings, doors, and window frames. And this originates from the Gullah Geechee culture to ward off haints. That's why they call it haint blue. Haint is kind of that Gullah Geechee word that means evil spirits. And this haint blue actually mimics the color of water or the sky, and it prevents them from entering homes. So a lot of people in the Low Country paint their porches underneath. They paint it haint blue. So this tradition has offered practical benefits. A lot of times the lime in the original indigo-based paint that from the indigo farms in the low country actually helped repel insects like wasps and mosquitoes. So this indigo paint was very popular back in the day because of the benefits of the lime, that was found in that indigo paint. But I just thought that was really interesting. I don't know how many people knew about the haint blue, but haint comes from the Gullah word haunt or spirit. And that blue color was believed to kind of trick that restless spirit into thinking that the ceiling was the sky or a body of water that they could not cross, and thus it protects your home. And a lot of people use that color for its aesthetic appeal. Still to this day, it's a custom that has become a very recognizable feature in Southern architecture, particularly in historic areas like Charleston. So let me go over here to the chat and see what I've missed. Hey, Alley Cat, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing good. It's going to be chilly. I wonder if y'all are going to get any snow and ice like we are. You were around Charleston during Hugo? My parents lost their home in Hugo here, near where I live, and they never rebuilt because it destroyed their home. And that was a mess. Hugo was a mess. We're talking million dollars of damage here. So you paint your porches underneath blue to keep wasps from making nests. Well, that's also a benefit too. Yep, long as they don't think they can cross. I told hubby, I was like, we might have a new project. We might have to paint the underneath of the porch blue. And of course, I got the side eye for that. But now y'all was making fun of me about throwing salt in my doorway. But we're going to learn here about the boo hag. And I think salt has something to do with it too. So see, y'all won't think I'm that crazy. So I wanted to give you a little history about the haint blue, because anybody that's from South Carolina, they probably know all about that haint blue. Now, what exactly is a boo hag? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of pictures that I have of what a boo hag was depicted to look like. This is a picture that I found that looks like a boo hag. That does not look good, okay? Right here, this does... Chico said, no, I throw salt all around my doors. If you know, you know. See, Chico? I'm telling you. I don't throw salt on the people like Crispy Treat was saying. But I do be having to, listen, if I got a sage, I got to put salt in front of the door. Ask Michelle and Allie. Ask Michelle and Allie. They've been to my house. I'm very funny about who I let in my house. I'm weird. I'm just one of those weird people. Because your house is your sanctuary and you got to protect that with, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just weird about those things. This is also a saying about the boo hag that I found. Don't let the boo hag ride you. Yeah, wait till we get into this story. That sounds crazy. This even looks even crazier. Look at that. It looks like this boo hag is literally sucking the breath of life out of this person right here in this. What is going on here? And when I saw this picture, I knew straight away we was going to have to cover the boo hag, because I had to find out what is going on down in Charleston and Georgia with this boo hag, right? Michelle said, yes, she is. And yes, we were allowed in her house. Yes, I did allow them in my house. It's because they passed the test, see. But if you come down here and it's a no for me, listen, there's people that live in my neighborhood that I've never let in my house. It's just the way that it is. Like, I'm funny. You can ask Duke when he gets in here. Like, I'm weird like that. Your house is your sanctuary. You got to keep the peace, the calm, and you got to keep all the negative energy, the bad juju out, right? It's just the way that it is. Allie, I'm not going to say what that looks like. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm not sure. It doesn't look good, does it? That reminds me of a banshee. I think that's kind of what a boo hag is. It's kind of like a banshee. That's kind of what I'm picking up. Now, listen, in the low country, y'all, the boo hag is a cross between a sleep paralysis demon and a vampire. I'm serious. A boo hag is a creature of the night. This boo hag, now listen, I'm just going to give you a trigger warning. If you got your kids in the room and you're listening to this, probably not a good idea. All of my streams on this channel is for 18 plus only. I am not going to be responsible for your children's getting the wits scared out of them because I'm fixing to dig into this boo hag and show y'all some stuff that you don't want to see. So put your kids to bed, get your butt back in here, get that little earpiece in so your kids can't hear what I'm about to say, because we don't need no nightmares. And if you get nightmares, you might have to come back and see me on another stream, y'all, because I don't know this. I don't even know if I know where this is going. So I'm giving you fair warning. I'm giving you fair warning. This skinless monster has red muscles, prominent blue veins, and eyes that reflect like a cat's. This South Carolina cryptid sometimes is depicted with flowing white hair, like the hair that grows on corpses. That led many older generations to believe the vampires were coming from the dead to feed. And they are believed to use witchcraft and evil magic to cause havoc on innocent people and will paralyze you in your sleep, like the infamous painting of the demon that sits on your chest in the middle of the night, feeding on your life force and subjecting you to nightmares. Now, when I read this, I just want to say the first person that came to my mind was Freddy Krueger. It sounds like a whole demon to me too, Chico. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let me get over here to the comments. I mean, you see the demon on my screen right now, right? I mean, this is more than I was thinking that was going to be involved with this boo hag when I started researching. I'm like, this does not sound good at all. Okay. But in the Gullah Geechee culture, y'all, they believe that people have both a spirit and a soul. So, of course, I believe that myself. Once you die, your soul ascends to heaven or hell, depending on the life you lived. Well, I believe that too. Your spirit stays behind to help you guide. And this is the part they believe. Your spirit stays behind to help guide your descendants as part of the ancestor worship that makes up hoodoo. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard of some hoodoo. But if you stay, but were evil in life, your spirit mutates into a boo hag. Say it ain't so. Allie said it also looks like the image seen through in the movie The Nun. It does, Allie. I'm getting all kinds of, listen, when they make these horror movies, I have to tell you that I wonder if a lot of these inspirational things did not occur because of these folklore tales that people have been telling since the 1600s. Do you guys not agree? Chico said, I used to get night paralysis. Man, I still shudder thinking about those nights. You try to get up, you try to say something, and nope. Chico, that is scary. That is scary. Listen, this is where it gets, listen, y'all better get your seatbelts on because this is fixing to get wild. Yes, Carl, hoodoo and voodoo. Hoodoo is, Michelle, thank you. Hoodoo is more like magic. Voodoo is actually a religion. That is very interesting. Yes, and voodoo has West African roots as well, worshiping spirits through organized rituals, altars, priests. And that originates from like Haitian, Beninese traditions, while hoodoo is related but distinct African American folk magic system known as root work. That's what hoodoo is, focused on practical personal magic using herbs, roots, and natural elements for healing, luck, and protection. And for some people, it often blends African beliefs with some Christian elements and operating independently in a formal religion of deities. Listen, when I started looking into this, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I didn't even realize it went that deep, because at first I thought voodoo and hoodoo were the same thing, but it turns out it's not. Y'all, this is a lot deeper than I thought this was even going to be. But this is where it gets a little scary. So the boo hag looks human during the day because it cloaks itself with its previously unlucky victim's skin. Yes. At night, it escapes the skin and goes looking for its next victim. So that picture that I showed you where it looked like he was sucking the life out of somebody, they're wearing that person's skin. Yeah. Now, here's another little interesting fact that that hubby was telling me about. He's not back up here yet, but he said, did you know that it can slip through any crack in a window or a crevice in a wall? And once it's inside, it finds you sleeping in your bed and it crawls on top of you. It sucks the air from your lungs as you sleep. And it rides you until sunup when it escapes to its hidden skin suit. And that's why there's a saying among the Gullah that goes, don't let the hag ride you. Because if you're lucky, you might wake up extremely exhausted after this ride. It's a sign of a visit from the boo hag. That's a sign of someone who has slept all night but got no rest. That means they got a visit from the boo hag. So if you wake up in the morning and you feel exhausted, maybe a boo hag has been riding you all night long. It's an unfortunate encounter with the boo hag that ends you is when you wake up with the creature still riding you. And if you try to escape or attack it while it's feeding on you, it will steal your skin for its next disguise. That's crazy. Tell me that's not crazy, y'all. I cannot. Listen, I don't even know if I'm going to go to sleep later. Next time I wake up and I'm tired, I'm gonna have to get the salt and all the kinds of stuff out. So what do people do to protect themselves from a boo hag, right? I mean, this sounds like a serious situation. Allie says, help. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, nope, no. Wait a minute. Carl says, remember the SNL skit? What's up with that? He do, who do, how about some voodoo? Ooh wee, what's up with that? Sif said, Alley Cat, the last time I had it, it was the hag on my chest. It's bad enough, but add the hag on your chest? Nope, horrible. Allie said, well, I mean, if you lose weight that way, then, Lord, let's not be using that as like a weight loss. as a form of weight loss. I don't think that's probably good. So how do you get rid of this boo hag? I mean, this boo hag thing sounds terrifying. I mean, it literally comes in to steal your breath and your energy by like sucking the life out of you at night while you're asleep. But you can ward off these evil spirits. It says here that some of the characteristics and behavior of these boo hags are that at night they shed their human skin, often stolen from a victim. That's what allows them to slip through these small openings like keyholes or cracks. They ride these sleeping victims, sitting on their chests to steal their breath and their life force, leaving the victim exhausted. And in order to ward these off, though, there's a few things you can keep these boo hags from riding you at night. You could place a broom. And now, my friend that lives in Charleston told me that specifically a cinnamon broom is what you want to keep near the door to your room, because apparently it will be forced to stop and count the bristles, because apparently boo hags are OCD. Who knew that? But I also heard that cinnamon is also, they do not like the smell. So a lot of people in the South keep cinnamon broomsticks in their house, and that's because the spirits do not like cinnamon. But also, if they can avoid the cinnamon smell, they will be forced to stop and count all the bristles on the broom. You can even use hairbrushes or a colander to the same effect. It will be forced to count the bristles or the holes in the strainer. And the goal is that the hag will be distracted long enough so that the sun will come up and it will be unable to return to its skin suit, and it will die in the sunlight. Now, that does sound like some epic vampire mess right there. Michelle said in the late 70s, early 80s, the Hmong men, I think in Kentucky, were being unalived due to a sleep paralysis spirit. That is very interesting. True story. That's what actually Freddy Krueger was based on. Yeah, I'm telling you that when these people write these stories, I mean, they get these ideas from somewhere. And I have a feeling there's been a lot of horror movies that have been based off of this particular cryptic tale from South Carolina right here. And it says it's an interesting parallel to European vampires and fairies, who were also stopped by leaving piles of rice, sand, or salt in their path. They'll have to count the granules and die in the daylight. That's why if you put salt in your doorway, they won't be able to cross, because they'll have to sit there and they'll have to count every grain of salt before they can cross over into your house. And by the time they're done counting every grain of salt, the sun will have come up and they will have evaporated. So, Crispy Treat, if you're in the building, Crispy Treat, this message is for you. That's why I put salt in my doorway, because the boo hag. And I didn't even know it was the boo hag I was keeping out. Allie says, is this only in the South, or am I not safe either? It's hard to know. I mean, who knows if the boo hag can travel? This is something that is a very common folklore tale in the Low Country of South Carolina and Charleston. But I have heard that there are stories of the Appalachian boo hags. So it's very possible that they are in other places as well. Now, if you sprinkle salt over a boo hag as it sits on top of you, it will make the hag unable to return to its skin, and it will die in the morning. This is the trickiest one of them all to attempt, however. If best that if you wake up, do not move, so you might survive the visit. And of course, the best deterrent for this creature, according to this, and any other angry spirits, will include a local hardware store trip, because you will need a unique hue of indigo blue paint called haint blue. And of course, that is the color that we talked about in the very beginning. And that goes back to that indigo crop that was so labor intensive to produce back when European colonists came to the New World. It was considered blue gold back in the 15, 16, 1700s. A Southern belle named Eliza Lucas in the 1730s planted the first indigo plants on one of her father's 3 plantations in Charleston. But indigo was not that wasn't the first time, the indigo actually came from other places. That wasn't the first time it was ever here, but that's how a lot of these plantations made their money. While indigo was already grown in Jamestown, Virginia, and New Amsterdam, that is currently New York City, by the way, it did not grow well in those areas. And the Charleston plants were successful in the Low Country and became the biggest exploited item from the New World in a few short years. But that dye is so labor intensive, the farmers needed experienced workers. And see, African cultures had worked with this crop for almost half a millennium at that point, because a lot of these cultivators, the indigo cultivators, that came from West and Central Africa. And it's horrible that it had to be like that. And I hate that part about it. But that's why they needed these indigo cultivators spurned on this kidnapping and enslavement of hundreds of thousands of people from West and Central Africa. Because money, greed, power. Hey, Matthew, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. So this is how the Boohag came to be. Again, this is a Gullah Geechee folklore tale that's been around since the 1600s. But these people banded together to create these communities, and their beliefs came with them. And the blue is a sacred color to the Gullah Geechee people. And it was most helpful in warding off these evil spirits. They kept a lot of blue bottles. They dyed glass with indigo. They dyed the ends of tree branches and sticks to create these bottle trees. And what seems like a cute garden decoration, by the way, I have blue bottles here. If you go to Charleston, you will see bottle trees all over the place. And because it's a tradition that has carried over for centuries. And it's thought that the spirits can actually slip into these blue bottles, but they can't escape the tiny openings because of the color blue. And the ringing or the rustling from these bottles outside means that a ghost is caught inside. And if you ever go to Charleston, you'll see a lot of these bottles all over the city. It's pretty neat. If you've never been to Charleston, South Carolina, I highly recommend it. It is rich with history, and there's a lot to learn. It's a wonderful place for a lot of art. There's a lot of tragedy and bad things that have occurred in South Carolina, but I think it's a great place to educate yourself about the things that have happened over the course of America becoming the country that it is, and the people who helped to build this country that didn't get the credit that they deserved in a lot of cases. Because there's a lot of people that lost their life, a lot of people that were enslaved. They didn't ask to be brought here and be put through the things that they had to suffer through. And it's sad that it happened. And now something else that they did was they also used the dregs of the dyeing vats where they would get this blue indigo color. They mixed that blue with lime and other chemicals, lime like you put in your yard, that kind of lime. Not like lime from a lime tree. Not the kind you eat, but the kind you put in your yard. They would mix that in the paint and other chemicals to make a robin egg blue. And that's what became the haint blue. And a lot of people use that in the low country of South Carolina to keep the evil spirits away. But because of that lime in it, it kept away wasps. It kept away a lot of bugs and things like that. So there was another reason why they used it back then as well. Now, I don't know if this paint's got lime in it today. If it does, I'd be really interested to see it. But That's how they made it a long time ago. And of course, they would paint the windowsills, the shutters, the doorways, and even the veranda ceilings to keep these boo hags away, because the color would cause confusion. The ghost would think it stumbled into a body of water that it couldn't cross, or that it had stepped into the open sky and it would be swept away by the wind or killed by the sun. And it was cheap and a relatively easy way to keep the spirits out. And older homes in South Carolina, sometimes they'll have bright blue shutters. In fact, I have some neighbors in the neighborhood. They have bright blue shutters. We have neighbors with tin blue roofs. We still have neighbors with blue roofs, with blue fences. It's actually a thing here in South Carolina. Are they trying to keep the spirits away, or do they just think it looks good? It's hard to say. I guess it depends on what your beliefs are. Hey, Elizabeth, it's good to see you. But anyway, I thought that was a very interesting take on the boo hag. So much interesting stuff. Did definitely get you a broom. So they'll have something to count. Throw your salt all around the openings in your house. But I thought that was a really interesting story. Now, as far as from the Georgia Gullah Geechee witch legend from the Georgia side, they say the same thing. Don't let the boo hag ride you. And this is mainly in the salt marshes of coastal Georgia. And their story goes, there are witches who shed their skin at night to steal your breath while you sleep. For one man, a honeymoon ended quickly when he realized that his beautiful bride might be hiding a gruesome, skinless secret. And it turns out that the wife was a boo hag. Yeah. Brother Emmett Fisher. Boy, he found out the hard way. And if you guys want to read that story, that is on the Moonlit Road. That is actually a story about the Georgia version of the boo hag. And I will drop that in the chat if you guys want to go check out that version. I thought that was a really interesting tale as well. But the Geechee is from Georgia and the Gullah is from South Carolina. But they're both low country, swamp, salt marshes. And these are just really interesting folklore stories. It's very interesting to know, where these stories actually come from. And the skinless witches. There's even actually a story like on the History Channel, I think, that does involve like the boo hags, or some version of that, It's just very interesting looking back at the history where these things come from. So, but I just wanted to take you guys on a little Carolina trip into looking at exactly why you don't want to let the boo hag ride you. Hey, Cash, you threw no salt. Well, you might need to just in case. Hey, Callie, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. But that's the story of the boo hag. Does anybody have any questions? I thought that was a really interesting story that comes from the Gullah culture. And that's where we credit that to. If you ever do get down to Charleston, go to the historic Charleston City Market on Market Street. It's a really interesting place at the city market. You can buy food and jewelry and sweetgrass baskets. You can actually meet some of the people there. They have there's some Gullah women there when we were there the last time that sell souvenirs, sweetwater baskets. They sell their spices there. The culture is so amazing. The food is delicious. It's really interesting to just understand what that part of these sea islands and the folklore tales that come from this part of South Carolina region. We call this area the Sea Islands, and this culture has persevered for hundreds of years despite slavery, war, natural disaster. It really is a testimony of their resilience and their fortitude. They are really incredibly interesting people, and they have a wonderful culture and history. And I encourage you guys to go look into that. Maybe we can talk about that sometime. I'd love to have Chico come up and us talk about that. Has anybody ever seen Gullah Gullah on PBS? That used to be like a kids show. Gullah Gullah Island. You know, that's kind of where that comes from. So don't forget, if you've been exhausted lately, tonight when you go to bed, be sure to hang a strainer on your bedroom doorknob, leave that straw broom in the corner of your room, and maybe, just maybe, put that salt out by your door just in case. And hopefully that will be enough for you to have a good night. Sleep tight. And don't let the boo hag ride you. Now, on Thursday, we'll be talking about a cold case here in Hope County, North Carolina, for Brittany Locklear. And then we'll get back to sharing some more flyers. We've got that winter storm that's coming in this weekend. So, yes, your husband may ask you why you have a strainer, and you just need to tell him that Dutchy said so. And then show him a picture of that and tell him that that's exactly why you need to do it. Just if you just say Dutchy said do it, he'll probably laugh and say, "Okay, I trust whatever you're saying," and then he'll probably roll his eyes. But just tell him to go with it. Just tell him to go with it. Now, listen, if you guys have a particular folklore story from the Carolinas that you want me to cover, let me know. If I don't have any comments under this video about a particular story in the next couple of days, I already have one in mind that we're going to talk about next Tuesday. So these usually will be less than an hour, but I always want to try to let you guys know what folklore we're going to be covering. The Duke still has not made it up here. I don't know. I think he forgot all about me. Bless his heart. He probably did not even want to discuss the boo hag at this point because he's probably thinking, do we have any boo hags in this area? Ugh. I'm going to have to go get my salt after this live stream. Gina's got some. She gonna send me a bunch. Send them to me, girl. We will cover them. Now, Duke did say that he wanted me to cover the lady that my dad tried to pick up. God bless my father. You know, we just had our birthdays, and my dad has passed away. But when I was a little girl, my dad told me about when he was in his 20s, and him and my mom were dating. He tried to pick up Lydia at Lydia's Bridge in Jamestown, North Carolina. Gina, you know exactly where that is, in Jamestown by Guilford Tech Community College. Lydia was by this bridge, and when it was a rainy night, she would be out there trying to hitchhike. And my dad did pull over in his convertible Chevelle and told me that him and his buddy tried to pick her up. But when nobody came to the car after they saw her walking, his buddy jumped out of the car and there was nobody there. And so my husband wants me to make sure that I cover Lydia's Bridge. Also. Really? Are you serious? That is incredible. That is a wild story. We're definitely going to talk about that. Oh, you want to do Gray Man at Polly's Island? Yeah, the Gray Man tells you when the hurricanes are coming. It warns us. And every year, I always have somebody showing a picture saying they saw the Gray Man out here. Not just in Polly's Island. Out here, I've seen it in North Myrtle Beach. Sometimes when it gets real stormy, you'll see this shadowy figure walking the beach. So we can definitely cover the Gray Man, especially when it gets to be hurricane season. We're definitely going to have to talk about the Gray Man. There are so many wonderful folklore tales. The other one I think that Duke wanted me to talk about was also when he was right after he's older than me, but we both went to high school together. And he used to live near Mount Shepherd, which is just south of where we grew up. And there's a place where we called it like Gravity Hill, but it was really just the way that the road was. It's kind of near 64 and Asheboro, I think. There was an area, and he was like, we definitely have to talk about that. He was like, I used to live near that. I think that's a really cool one too. There's a lot of really interesting tales in the Carolinas. So we're going to cover North and South Carolina. The Ghost of Alex Flagg, that's a great one too. I'm screenshotting all of these because we definitely are going to have to do it. So I'm going to take some of the pictures so I can make sure that I don't forget. And I'm so glad to see you, Gina. I hope you're doing good. You love those stories? Me too, me too. You still watch Unsolved Mysteries? I used to love that show back in the day. That would be great. I would love that, Gina. And it's so good to see you. Hey, the Cromwells, you love this? Me too, me too. So listen, I'm going to let you guys go because like I said, I keep this below an hour. Every week, we're going to talk about a new folklore tale. And, you know, when I put it up, then you guys will have a little bit of time to look into it. And then you can come in here and tell me what you guys found about what we're talking about. So when you go to bed tonight, don't forget, get all your broom, your salt, all your stuff together, and don't let the boo hag ride you. Now, I'm going to let you guys get on out of here, and y'all be good in these streets, and I'll catch you later. See you on Thursday for the live stream. We're going to talk about a cold case out of Hope County, North Carolina. See you then. Bye, y'all.
Dutch bus rolling in slow, Carolina dirt on the chrome. Let's go, let's go. From the pines to the pier, we appear. Y'all come back now. You hear?
I've been digging in the dark, these cases are hell. Cold cases, crime and corruption, dust on the trail. Whispers in small towns, best leave the stuff alone. But we bring it to the front porch like we will uncover every stone.
Thank you for riding on the Dutch bus, baby, to North and South Sea, where it gets real crazy. You listen to the truth through the fear, through the tears. Y'all come back now, you hear? Thank you for standing when the pressure got heavy, kept your heart wide open when the cases got messy. You stayed for the names, not the fame, with no fear. Y'all come back now, you hear?
I see a mama with the flag stapled on the old church door. Sheriff say we on it, but that trail been cold for sure. We connecting all the counties from the coast to the hills. Every call, every tip, every text, we gon' track them still.
Politicians at the cookout shaking hands in cheap suits. I talk budget bodies, numbers, watch them all, dodge the truth. But y'all hit play, then replay, shared the link, said the names out loud. You turned up in living rooms, turned whispers into crowds.
From Charlotte down to Charleston, from Myrtle Beach to the Pines. If they're missing, they ain't forgotten, not on Dutchy's time.
For every face on a phone screen, for every case they free, we bring attention to cases till the families can breathe. Numbers on paper, you're the reason we stay loud. When you're tuning through the heartbreak, you became part of this crowd.
Thank you for riding on the Dutch bus, baby, through North and South Sea, where it gets real crazy. You listen to the truth through the fear, through the tears. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Y'all come back now.